Okay, this time I'm cutting to the chase, buddy boy. 3 seconds in. You got SOPA. You got PIPA. You got NDAA. You got this law in 3 states where you cannot film on-duty police officers. Right? If I'm wrong, I mean, let me know. This is just what I hear. Well, SOPA and PIPA did not pass. People were upset. They let Congress know they were upset and it didn't pass. So SOPA and PIPA didn't pass, but the day after, they took down Mega Upload, which was this huge site, I guess. I have no information other than what I learned from YouTube, so forgive me. But I guess they took down this huge site, Mega Upload, which it was like huge and stuff, which was out of China. And they took it down because I guess supposedly, you know, it has copyrighted stuff on it. Even though I think it's like, what, file sharing, so it, you know, which I think is illegal, because like, you wanted to take it down, you wanted to pass these laws so you could take it down, but the laws didn't pass and you still took it down. So it tells me that you needed this law to legally take it down, but the law didn't pass, which means you illegally took it down. That's the only conclusion one can come to logically. And the NDAA, I guess what, so that did pass? Forgive my ignorance on this. But whether it passed or not, and then the 3 states where there's this law where you can't film on-duty police officers, you know, maybe this is just a reaction to the Occupy people, but no, maybe it's just this government, like all humans, has this instinctive fear over, you know, terrorism as far as the NDAA and stuff. And then as far as the SOPA and PIPA, obviously that's clearly big businesses' fear over losing money. That's absolutely all that is. That you cannot argue. That's just people with money don't want to lose their money. And just like the bailouts, they have the power to not lose their money, to stay in business, no matter how freaking crappy they get. And then Americans are dumb enough to continue buying and using the banks that screw them over. It's like, you morons. Ugh. Anyway, I could yell at Americans for longer than I could yell at the government or corporations, because they are dumber than governments or corporations. Because we have so much power to just not use the bank that screwed us over, to just not go spend the money at the corporation that lobbied to screw us over. Yet we do it. You know, what do? Oh man, freaking SOPA and PIPA. I'll write for 5 hours on YouTube about how crappy SOPA and PIPA are, and I'll write to my congressman. Oh no, let's sit down and watch some TV. Okay, I'm gonna freaking strangle you, you moron. You're not putting 2 and 2 together? Forget 2 and 2. You're not putting 1 and 1 together? I mean, have some sort of conscious awareness of the whole picture before you just run away and act like you know what you're doing. So American citizens tick me off, I think, more than American governments or, you know, lobbyists, corporations, because the corporations and the governments are just have their own best interests, but, you know, they see the big picture, but they're just choosing to screw us over. American citizens don't see the big picture, and that's not entirely their fault. We're, you know, trained, whether it's deliberate or not, to, you know, to be brainwashed. Whether it's just by happenstance of society and technology, we are just brainwashed human beings who only act out of instinct. But I'm getting off track with the whole brainwash and subconscious level at which we function. The point of this is all of these bills, all of these actions which the government is willing to take, when taking into considerations of big money over what's right, or figuring out on their own what's right. How about this? Communicating with the American people and figuring out their opinion. That would be great. Or if the American people, somebody with some resources, would put something together who actually cares, where the American people are in touch with their government and are letting them know exactly what we want. This isn't hard in this day and age. You know what I mean? There could be a website where people go and just ask whatever they want to know about the government, and you know, make suggestions of what they want. And if enough people are heard, the government changes. We've seen that throughout history. So it's unfortunate that there's nothing, there's no voice for the people. The government should create a voice for the people, and the people should create a voice for the people, and we don't. We all kind of go into our own groups, our own little niches that we feel comfortable with, and maybe we feel like we're doing something, but we never really get together as a whole. And of course, the people who have resources don't give an F, because they only care about the money that they're getting. That's the resource that I'm talking about, is either money or popularity. And if you're popular, you only care about being popular, and if you're rich, you only care about being rich. So until one of them breaks that mold, which I don't see happening, us regular folk would actually have to band together, create this sort of communication, and fight for this sort of communication between the people and the government. But without that, you shouldn't really get so up in arms about, and I'm not saying you shouldn't get up in arms, I'm saying we should get up in arms about bills that upset us, and things that they do that upset us, that we know about. But you should also every day be thinking about what you don't know, and how secretive, independent, and gigantic the government is that upset you yesterday. Instead, what we do is we won our battle. We won our battle on Sopa and Pippa, and it's over. No, it isn't over. People who abuse power don't stop just because one bill didn't pass. And the citizens who are ignorant don't stop being ignorant just because one bill didn't pass. It's not a victory in the large sense as you make it. So I guess just the point is, without any communication between the two parties, without any continual conscious, even in everyday comfortable situations, of us as people to voice our opinion and to actually feel that things aren't right, to actually see that things aren't right, and they're too big, they're too independent, they have too much independent influence over us in decision making. Until that happens, you can't expect anything to actually change. All you can expect is to delay the inevitable. So I just hope people, raise their awareness. And I don't have faith at all, but I hope that somebody with some power, with some resources, does the right thing and looks at the big picture and connects the people to the government. Because the answer isn't revolution. Revolutions aren't the answer. Violence is not the answer. Those are all actions based off of subconscious instinct. We are beings capable of far more. We are capable of consciously looking at, analyzing, and figuring out a situation logically and coming to a conclusion. Every problem is a human problem. There are no problems that aren't human problems. And there are no solutions that are not human solutions. We are the only ones with brains that can consider either. And the solution really is not hard at all. The solution is so simple: to communicate. I've been married, and I know how hard it is, because you work off your instincts, and you end up just freaking hating each other, or you end up loving each other, both because of your instincts, and you never consciously look at the relationship. But any relationship, including, and I didn't learn this until after I was divorced, but any relationship, including the one between people and government, benefits from honest communication and building an honest relationship where shit is on the table. So let's put stuff on the table. And, I wish I could just start something and have everybody join me, and we'll all be at that table. But I just, I'm as weak as the next guy, especially since, I'm as stuck as the next average guy when it comes to just being a working guy, paying off loans, barely making any money, You know, maybe it's a pussy move for me to say I'm appealing to someone with more resources and more power, but it isn't, because it's those resources like money or networks or popularity that you can really change a lot more than somebody who's stuck in the daily grind. You can change a lot more way easier. I'm not saying none of us, and I'm not saying that none of us can't change and do big things, but it's just way easy for somebody with power. So anyway, that's my hope, is that one day we will build this bridge of communication, actual communication, and not stop and not just go back to our instincts and think we've settled something and build, part of a bridge and think that we've actually have this communication, but to actually build the bridge, see it until it's through, and after it's through, and continue this communication. And that's what will solve our problems as a government that runs away with its power, and a people, well, some of which also run away with their power, because we all run away with our power if we get it. That's how humans work. And a people who run away with their comfort zone. They just sit in this comfort zone their entire lives and let this government and these selective people run away with that power. It's just a bridge of communication. It really isn't more, because once the communication is there, the honest communication and the actual figuring out of what's going on, once you have the knowledge and it's in your conscious mind, trust me, problems get solved pretty darn fast. But when we aren't aware of it, nothing changes. Nothing changes at all. And that's why you see this SOPA and PIPA become such a big deal, is because suddenly we're aware of it, and suddenly it's in our conscious. But there's a lot of stuff that we aren't aware of, that I'm not aware of course, that should be in our conscious. So, I don't know. That's my train of thought for today.